What is up, everybody? J Nell here with my UFC 232 prediction video. It's happening this coming Saturday, so it is the official end of the year pay-per-view. So of course it is stacked. Please look out for my 30-second predictions that I do on Twitter and Instagram, because I will have predictions on the prelims and maybe even the early prelims, because the entire event is stacked with important fights on those undercards. So please look out. There's going to be at least one, possibly two or three. Now I'm only going to do the main card. So first up, I'm choosing Chad Mendes to beat Alexander Volkanovski. This is a great way to open the card. Volkanovski actually has a 5-inch reach advantage. They both have a wrestling base. I believe Chad's better at it. I believe he's quicker body movement wise and can possibly get inside of that range. But if Volkanovski's been working, he's got a big right hand, he's been working that traditional boxing, he can make this interesting. But I am going with Mendes. I'm choosing Ilir Latifi to beat Corey Anderson. Now we are seeing Carlos Condit take on Michael Chiesa as a welterweight. He is moving up in weight class. I do believe the size will be an advantage for Carlos Condit. We've seen him in these later fights look like he's lost his fire. He's got amazing Muay Thai. He's got good wrestling. He has submission victories as well. And he used to have that aggression, that killer instinct to where you just kind of knew he was going to find out how to win. He had knives as weapons. He would slice through the chaos, bloody up his opponents with elbows and knees and with debut moves and spinning things. And he was so dynamic. And we really haven't seen that lately. We're all kind of dying to see the whole Carlos Condit, you know what I mean? Michael Chiesa, of course, has that controlled chaos as well. He has a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, but he swings that thing like it's a black belt, let me tell you. He can catch submissions standing on the ground, in the clinch, wherever. And he likes to take a shot, probably a little bit too many, because I believe he has been KO'd. Now look, he is on a 2-fight losing streak. Carlos is on a 3-fight losing streak. I just lost it. Is it 3 or 4? Lord, is it 4? I actually think it's 4. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's actually a 4-fight losing streak for Carlos Condit. Carlos can't take that loss. Michael Chiesa can take a loss going up in weight class and losing to the bigger man, going up there having not been there in years. Carlos Condit, if he loses another fight, I think it's going to be done. And I always root for fighters to get back to their normal selves, or get back to a new exciting self again. And wow, especially someone like Carlos. So I'm picking him because I'm hoping. Now, co-main event, and we are seeing the UFC. We're doing the heavier weight class. The UFC Women's Featherweight Champion, Miss Cris Cyborg Justino, take on the UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion, Miss Amanda. I'm so sorry. Miss Amanda Nunes, the Miss Lioness, to make up for that blub. But this is a super fight, and the featherweight title is the one that is on the line. Amanda is moving up in weight class. Duh. Let's get into it. So let's go start with the challenger, Amanda Nunes. She is the lighter woman, and she will be the smaller woman, even though she doesn't have to cut weight for this. And she's had kind of risky weight cuts before. She is a big 135er. They're the same height, both 5'8", but Amanda will be smaller. She'll have a thinner waist. She'll have smaller shoulders and chest and all of that, smaller thighs and all of that. Actually, she may not have smaller shoulders because she's got that traditional boxing, but she will be a noticeably smaller fighter, even though they are the same height. And she has a 1-inch reach advantage. You can even see with Amanda that her arms are kind of long. Her proportions are a little bit off. The legs are actually the same. So same height, 1-inch reach advantage. Normally, I would say that's nothing, except for Amanda Nunes is the best technical boxer, traditional boxer in the entire 135 division and 145 division, possibly, and the 115-pound division. That is what it is. She's the best technically. Her power does come from her speed meets technique meets mechanics, which is where your natural power comes from. She has a karate base. That's what she started with, karate. So she has that power base as well. And at 16, she switched over to traditional boxing. She has a jab, quick jab. I think she'll have quicker hand speed. I think she'll have quicker footwork. I think she'll have a more variety in her shots, diversity in her punch combinations. And I believe she'll be able to, she'll need to move in and out. Moving it out. Even though she only has a 1-inch reach advantage, she does fight long, and she'll have to have a near perfect boxing performance here to keep Cyborg away from her. She's also a black belt in jiu-jitsu. If worse comes to worse and they get into the clinch, she could try to go from that, maybe take a risk and go for a submission standing up, or use something to get away from Cyborg. The reason why Holly Holm took her the distance and actually won a round is because of those kicks. Let's face it, those kicks that Holly had, she was able to keep Cyborg away from her. If a man had kicks, I'd be like, ooh, this would be even juicier matchup, even more competitive in my opinion if she had some real kicks. She has some. I hope she's been working on more. Please tell me you've been working on more to keep her away from you. Let's talk about the champ, 145 champ, Miss Cris Cyborg. I believe she's also a black belt in jiu-jitsu. She might think she actually knows she's brown. Excuse me, brown belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And she doesn't really need to use it at all. She actually has some good wrestling as well. I'm not going to talk about her personal life. I've decided I'm going to do a later video talking about her really colorful past and history. She really gets judged, I think, unfairly. If you look and do your research at her story, you know she was one of 2 women at an extremely abusive camp. When one person who says, I didn't know what I was taking, I just did it because they told me to and I had to, it's her. Just look at it, but we're not going to talk about that now. 145. If she wanted to shave off some of that muscle and come down to 135, she could, but she does not want to. She's never coming down. They're trying to finally build this division around her. About time. She is one of the scariest female fighters, period, ever. And her boxing skill has gone up. It's not just amazing power anymore. One punch knockout power. She moves ladies across the ring when she hits them, even with gut punches, even when she has kicks, because Cyborg actually does have some kicks too. And what we've seen in her last fight, we all saw a long fight with Holly Holm, and she's got head movement now. She got a little shoulder roll now. She got angles now. She's getting better. You put skill behind that raw power, and baby, the time to beat her, Amanda, was probably 2 years ago. So let's talk about who's going to win this fight. Amanda's going to have to be near perfect. Hopefully she's been working on those kicks. She's going to have to work that entire inch of that 1-inch reach advantage and hit her with everything. 10 punch combinations, including knees and elbows. Do some spinning things. Go for the nays. Do oblique kicks. Work the rules. Do everything. Throw everything at her and stay away from her. In and out. In and out. Work that footwork. I think you're going to have quicker footwork and quicker hand speed. Work that jab. In and out. In and out. Cyborg with that power, which lacks up for her lack in skill. And I'm not saying she lacks boxing skill, but compared to Nunes, she is the lesser. She makes up for it, though, with that power. If she does get in trouble on the feet, kind of getting boxed up a little bit, she can take a punch. She can just kind of barrel her way in and get a hand on her, because I think she'll be physically stronger to the point where she'll be able to muscle Amanda a bit, throw her down, push her back, drag her down. Do you see what I'm saying? Disrupt that quick, swift, technical boxing, which just, come here. Do you know what I'm saying? Bear hugger. Do what you got to do. So, who's going to win this fight? Now, some people sometimes use my opinions a little bit for betting purposes because if you notice, I kind of stay over 500. So do not use my opinion for this fight at all. You guys know me. I love the drama. I love entertainment. I want to see the improbable be possible. I want to see David beat Goliath. I want to see a legitimate women's 2 division champion. I am picking Amanda Nunes. But don't. It's a stupid pick. It's stupid. But I'm going dumb. Tell me what to go. Now, moving on. Main event. And I've been excited for this. I think we've all been excited for this, even though we kind of don't want to be excited for this because we're kind of frustrated about this. But we are seeing the vacant UFC light heavyweight 205 belt being somebody gonna get the belt, okay? We'll just name the former champ first. Higher ranked first, excuse me. The number 2 ranked fighter is actually Mr. Alexander Gustafsson versus the Mala versus the number 3 ranked fighter, which is John Bones Jones. So let's get into this real quick. We know John Jones. Talk about the most colorful of past and even current. I'm gonna do a whole video about his personal life. I don't want to waste time on this video talking about it, so we're just gonna talk about them as athletes. Let's get into it. They had a first fight that's one of the greatest fights in history. Let's just face it. As far as the measurements, they're around the same height. If you look at it, it's either the same height or Gustafsson's actually an inch taller. So basically the same height. Even still, and the leg reach, same thing. Even still, John Jones has a 3 to 5 inch reach advantage, again, depending on where you look, but it's 3 to 5 inches. And with John Jones, as we've seen, he uses every bit of that. He uses it masterfully. He uses it in new ways we've never seen before. He truly, the art of 8 limbs, Muay Thai, he truly has 4 arms. He just comfortable with his elbows, swinging them like fists. As he says, punches hurt, elbows stop the fight. He's trying to cut you. He's trying to damage you. He's trying to injure you. He's trying to end the fight. All right. He's the challenger. He actually has a wrestling base. He was actually training for the Olympics in college before he had his first child. So he has a traditional wrestling base, but he doesn't need to use that half the time because he's become so creative with his Muay Thai, so creative with that reach advantage, with submissions on the feet, standing submissions, his game plan. He has one of the best minds in MMA, period, debuting new moves and everybody copying him. It wasn't Vitor Belfort who had that first straight kick knockout. That was John Jones, wrenching the arm, and Teixeira's wrenching his elbow in the clinch and ripping tendons and killing his punching power. John Jones debuts new moves, DC. As he said, he's bigger inside the octagon because he does little things you don't even think of. He's working your toes. He's working your inside legs. He's covering your breath, disrupting your breathing. He's working your shoulders. He does everything. He blankets you with offense, making himself bigger than he actually is. He just does things that people don't think of. He pushes the boundaries, works those rules, baby. And I disagree with the eye pokes just as much as anybody else. You got to get a handle on that. You got to get stricter with the rules that's on the ref. Get rid of the eye pokes. Everything else, you know how I am. As Booker T said, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I would work the rules too. It's one of my favorite things about Conor McGregor. People think I always hate him. I always talk about his mind as his strongest weapon. Conor works everything. He works the ref. He works the rules. He works your mind before you get. I love that. And John does the same thing. Gustafsson was the first person who didn't have that intimidation going into this fight. He came in, Gustafsson, too many amateur boxing titles and European boxing titles to count. He is probably the best traditional boxer in the entire division. He has cumulative damage, even though he's extremely powerful, but John can take a punch. So we're talking about the last fight. John can take a punch, even though Gustafsson does have one punch knockout power, but it's mostly cumulative damage, a great jab, great feints, long punch combination. He has kicks as well. He actually took John Jones down in that first fight as well. So he does have wrestling and TD, takedown defense. So Alexander Gustafsson has great footwork. He is quick. He will have quicker hand speed like he did in the first fight. It will have cumulative damage as well. It depends on who gets started first and who makes the adjustments. Now, they want to talk about ring rust. Do you know that John is actually the one who's fought more recently? He fought July 2017. Gustafsson, May 2017. So people are always talking about John's been out. John's been out. Not as long as Gustafsson. So they're going to be on the same level as ring rust. So that means whose mind is stronger to overcome that. Do I agree with the first fight? Do I think John Jones won? Yes, I do. Here's why. I think he won the first round and the championship rounds. If you look at the actual stats, which I just reviewed thoroughly, the stats are a lot closer than you think, mainly because of those kicks. And it's up to the judge's discretion. What do they score more? Do kicks equal one punch? Do kicks equal 2 punches? Do a significant body punch more than a significant headshot? It's all up to the judge's objectivity. And if you look at those stats, which are closer than they seem, you can see why John, being the only one who had 2 near finishes in the 4th and 5th round, championship rounds, you could see how they gave him that fight, and I do agree. With there being ring rust, with them having nearly the same measurements, we're not even knowing if they've really improved too much because it's been so long. Alexander coming off of an injury, John with all of his personal issues. Whose mind can overcome? Whose mind do I trust more? And in the octagon, and in the octagon only, that's John Jones. So I'm picking John Jones to win. And still, let me know what you think. Let me know all of your picks, any injury updates, of course. Let me know on the prelims and the early prelims, because again, I will have 30-second predictions on Twitter and Instagram. Let me know, what you think about my pick about the impossible in the co-main event with Miss Nunes. This is a great card, so just talk to me. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Like I said, I will have 30-second predictions and recaps. I'm on Snapchat now. Subscribe, like, talk to me, take care, and goodbye.